Welcome everyone, I am John Netto, author of The Global Macro Edge, and I'm beyond excited to be joined by my mentor and president of Barastone Inc., Steve Hotovec. Steve, thanks for being here today.
Thanks, John. Always a pleasure.
Steve gave an outstanding presentation yesterday as part of the Global Macro Edge series on the biggest macro trade for the next 10 years. And in this presentation, Steve brought forth some ideas and concepts that not a lot of people see right away, insofar as talking about the record run-up in asset prices has created some opportunities within the residential real estate market. Steve, why don't you walk us through the biggest macro trade and those things you pointed out?
Sure, John. Well, you basically have what the largest asset class in the world is residential real estate. The U.S. market, which is really more of the addressable market we're focused on, you've seen a meteoric rise in asset prices, residential real estate specifically.
Sure.
And you have homeowners that have a disproportionate amount of their wealth tied to a single illiquid asset. And so we basically highlighted in the presentation, and with focusing towards homeowners that are what we call house rich and cash poor. The second aspect of the problem that we address is the fact that the home wealth is a non-financial asset, meaning that it can't be used to purchase goods or services.
Right.
And lastly, and probably most obviously, you cannot get cash without a loan, meaning that there is no way to access that home wealth without taking on the burden of additional debt.
So the home residential market ecosystem, talk about that to me for a second. You have a homeowner, the last 7 years, income you mentioned yesterday has actually not gone up as much as home prices. What options exist right now? If I am a homeowner and I want to access some of that equity, what can I do?
Sure. Well, you basically have the conventional ways of accessing home wealth, which are a home loan.
Yeah.
And the way is a home equity line of credit.
Okay.
And then a reverse mortgage.
Okay.
There's a fourth option, which is a new growing trend, which we represent, which is homeowners that are either unable or unwilling to take on the burden of additional debt.
Right.
They can access the wealth in their home, and the way that it works is that homeowners will share in future price movement of the home, if any. So basically the homeowner gets to get cash without taking on a loan or taking on additional debt. And they keep and protect their current equity.
So if I'm a homeowner, what kind of monthly payments would I have to make on this then?
Yeah, so that's the beauty, John. There are no monthly payments. This is basically an institutional investor that wants to participate in the future price movement, up and down, of the home, and they basically want to be investing in homes that are residential without taking on the physical burden and ownership.
Sure. So if I look at the size of this market, all right, you talked about the record run-up in asset prices. Just how much trapped equity is out there right now?
Well, like I said, there's a little earlier, 168 trillion globally,
right?
But there's 80 trillion trapped, meaning that's without debt. So taking the debt component out.
Sure.
In the United States, there's more than 13 trillion, and coincidentally, there's 13 million homes, and 3 million of those are in California alone. That's
amazing. So, I'm a homeowner. What are some of the things and situations that homeowners do? If I want to access this capital, does my credit score matter? Like, what's the frictional aspects of this in terms of making this deal happen?
Sure. So these are equity-based. So basically the predominant requirement is that the homeowner has significant amounts of equity.
Okay.
So it's not so much credit-based. We like to say it's not the ability to repay, it's the ability to stay and maintain the home.
Gotcha. Outstanding. Steve Hotovec, outstanding presentation yesterday. Thank you very much. He's the president of Barastone Inc. Thank you very much, everyone.
Great. Thanks, John.